What's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be playing in this water, hydro dipping some graphics onto this boat. But first, make sure to hit that like and subscribe so you can come back and see what I get into next. I try to post hydro dip videos up like this one every Wednesday, 9-10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, I've been doing them in the morning, but I dropped the ball today, so this one I'm dropping at night. Without further ado, let's get into this. As you saw in the beginning clip, this boat was filthy. It's been sitting in a pool for quite a while, so I hit it with the pressure washer and got it pretty cleaned up. It is ready to go. Now we're going to take it over to the table and get it taken apart. It's got umpteen thousand screws and clips, so we're going to get it going. Now these screws were rusty. I'm telling you, this thing has been in the pool for about 2 years, and prior to that, I found it at the Goodwill. I can always find these boats at the Goodwill. They're sitting in there by the bulk load. I guarantee you, if you go into a Goodwill right now, you're going to come across this boat. You might have to go to 2 Goodwills in your area, but you'll come across this boat. And did you know what made this boat float? Check out that piece of styrofoam. Now you know. Anyway, got all these screws out, and like I said, a lot of them were rusty, so some of them I literally just pulled apart. Got this thing outside and hit it up with some primer, all the parts. Put one light coat on, let that dry, and then came back and coated them again, and it came out looking really well. Now, as far as the base paint goes, I got several different colors I'm going to use. I had some rattle cans sitting around the garage. I needed to use them up, so I'll tell you what we're working with. Got some purple, got some gold, got some green, and I got a little bit more gray. Now, almost out of the gold and almost out of the purple, but I stretched them onto the tower and the main building compartment, as you can see. And here's what we're looking like. Now, could have called it a day. This boat is looking pretty stellar as is, and it's ready to take some Hot Wheels across the ocean. But we're going to take it a step further. We're going to roll this out some film, and we're going to hydro dip some graphics onto our boat. Looking at my film choice today, I have this marble style camouflage. It's got some black and some silvers and some transparent parts of the film. The transparent parts of the film are going to be the colors of our boat. So our greens, our purples, our golds, our gray are going to show through the transparent parts, blend in with our black and gray, and this thing is going to look sick. So take a look at this film size choice I went with. A pretty large piece. This is going to allow room for error. That way, if I have any issues when I put my film on the water, my film's big enough to avoid those issues. If I have a small piece and I mess up, I got to throw that piece out. If I have a big piece and I mess up, I can move around. And if I don't have to move around, then I'll have additional room to dip additional pieces. So cut a big enough piece so you can avoid having to throw a small piece out and wasting it. Now, you're going to want to tape off any holes. So as you can see here, I'm going to take all my little boat pieces. I'm going to cover up all these styles and windows. I'm going to cover up all the little holes, all the little nooks, all the little crannies. And what this is going to do is stop any interruption when I'm dipping the item through the film. If you have a hole in an item and you're dipping it through, your graphics are bonding, they hit a hole, there's an interruption. And then when you get to your other part of your item, on the other side of the hole, you could have a missing part of your graphic. Your graphics might not bond at all. There might be a stretch. So you throw the tape in, the graphics bond up to the tape, avoid the hole, avoid the problem, and then your graphics are just perfect all the way around. So I get this thing all taped off and ready to go, and we can move over to the dip tank. We'll get the current turned off, get the heat turned off, and we'll get our film down onto the water. Now right here, we want all the water under the film and no water on top of the film. So we'll take it nice and easy, putting our film down onto that high quality H2O. Once we have it down on the water, we'll get it blocked in. It'll sit for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and my water temperature is roughly 87 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll blow out any little air bubbles we have, very gently like, and then we can move on to the next step, which is going to be to mix up a little bit of the activator and come in and spray our film with said activator. Now when I'm applying the activator, I'm going to do it nice and evenly, try to keep it about 12, maybe 15 inches away, and take it nice and slow across the top of the film, back and forth, all the way from top to bottom. Now I'm ready to dip my item on through, and what I'm going to do here is, I'm not going to go flat, I'm not going to slam it, I'm going to take it nice and easy. I'm going to hit an angle about 30, 40 degrees. And as I'm dipping this boat through, I'm going to be dunking and moving forward slightly as I go. If I go too fast, I'm going to cause waves. My graphics are going to move around, and this is not going to work correctly. If I slam it, I'm going to cause the graphics to move around. It's not going to work correctly. If I move nice and easy, as you can see, my graphics stay in one place. They bond nicely, and we have more room to work with. A little bit of touch up on my nose here. Didn't really need it, but I wanted it on part of the deck ramp a little bit better. So you can see here, I got the base dipped, and I have plenty of graphics left floating on the water. So I'm going to be able to dip our purple tower next up. Now with this tower, I'm going to do more of a kind of a roll method. It's not really round. It's kind of oblong, I guess. Anyway, so I'm going to start on one side, and I'm going to dip that side through and basically roll it on over, and we'll get our graphics bonded to that piece. And that came out lovely. And if you saw there, we have plenty of graphics left on the water, so we can go on with our next piece, which is going to be the helipad, which we painted up gold. I did tape off the little helipad portion there, which I believe back in the day when they made this piece, they actually hand painted that on. It is not a sticker. Anyway, we're going to dip this piece on through. Again, slight angle, moving it around. You can see I even twisted it there. I got the graphics to bond over it any way that I could. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got done out of that piece of film. I didn't really have any waste. I'm even going to get this little door in here. Originally, I wasn't even going to dip this door. I was just going to leave it gray so it kind of popped out with the graphics, but I had enough floating here and it was there in my face, and I looked at it and I thought, okay, I'm gonna dip it again. Now don't worry, I dropped it. It didn't hurt a thing. Here's what we got left floating on the water. Nothing. Gonna turn my current on. That's gonna wash out. We're gonna take our pieces. We're gonna set them to the side. They'll sit from anywhere from like 30 seconds to whenever I get to them, and then we'll hit them off with a rinse and we'll get some goo off of them. And once they're dry, our next step would normally be to clear coat. But what we're going to do now is repeat the process all over. We're going to get a nice size film selected out. We're going to get it cut out. And once we got it cut out and boarded off, we're going to transfer it over onto the dip tank. Again, no water on top of the film, all water underneath the film, trying to avoid any air bubbles as much as possible. You can see here that I've cut out about the same size piece of film again. We've got it down onto the water. It's now sat for a couple minutes, and we're hitting it with the activator. So now we can dip the rest of our boat. We have the bottom of the boat. We have some interior ramps that we need to get dipped, and we have enough film floating on top of the water here to do so. Now, as you watch me dip these parts on through, I just want to tell you what a fun project this was. Probably one of my favorites so far, and I've dipped really neat stuff, you know, from the beginning to the end, like a lot of really cool car parts and other parts that I've done that we don't want to talk about on this channel. But by far, this thing has been one of my favorite projects, probably because I'm a big 45-year-old child, and this is a toy, and it's something that as a young child I would play with. And even now, today, I might find myself playing with this toy. So anyway, I had a really great time putting this project together. I will say that editing the video and doing the voiceover, not such a great time for me, but doing the actual project itself was a good time. I like the process of hydro dipping. It's a very neat process. It baffles my mind. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. I'm by no means a pro. Every time I do a dip, I'm learning something different. Quite often, I'm starting over from the beginning because I make plenty of mistakes, but that's all in the process of learning. But anyway, this project in itself was quite fun, and I had a good time putting this video together for you all. Now here's the last little ramp that goes to the boat. I'm going to give it a little bit of a dip and a maneuver forward, dunk it on through, and it should be good to go. As an added bonus to my project, I noticed that I still had some paint floating on top of the water, and I decided to myself, let's try something. So I took our little foam insert and I dipped it on through the film. Now I didn't paint it, I didn't prime it, I didn't even clean it. I just grabbed it and I dipped it on through some of our remaining film, and the outcome was got a nice bond to the top side there. So we changed the look of our foam insert. Now when I tried to do the bottom of it, my graphics were pretty much gone, and I tried in 2 different spots and it didn't work. But hey, we tried it and that was cool. I like trying things with the Hydro Dip stuff, and now we know what we know. But the rest of our pieces came out looking lovely, as you can see here. I can't wait to get this thing put back together so we can all check it out. But first things first, we got to move all our items over to the rinse station, and we're going to rinse off everything. Once you dip an item, they come out super slimy, super gooey. So you're going to go over to your rinse station and you're going to spend about, 10 to 20 minutes rinsing. Now, if you had an automatic rinse station and it does it itself, cool. But if it's you, 10 to 20 minutes is a nice number to think about. You're going to be standing there rinsing off all the goo. Now, for me, I was super excited. I didn't even let this thing dry, and it's a boat. Boats aren't supposed to be dry. So I just took it right over to the table. I started ripping off tape so I could get this thing put back together, because I'm just super excited to see what this thing looks like back together again, all in one piece. And I wanted to share that excitement with y'all. So we got it all put back together super fast, like got our foam insert in, got our body in, got our tower on, got our helipad on, got all our little ramps on, and look at our vessel. Man, this thing is cool. We got all our doors done. The claw, I just painted up black and thought, man, it looked good like that. And yeah, the boat came out great. And I just wanted to tell y'all, I appreciate you watching. Come back and see what I get into next. Make sure to drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. I got a couple of these boats floating around. Maybe we'll do another one. I don't know. You'll have to see in the future. But as for now, I hope you all have a stellar day.